Okay, so now we're talking Mass Effect Andromeda. And to set the stage for this, I do understand that this game in itself carries some baggage. But what I would like to focus on is my experience with the game and ultimately just my thoughts. So really, it's really just an opinion. That's all. I'm certainly not an authority on gaming or any of this, the past history or what have you. Just what I thought and what I felt through playing through it. So first, let me start to say, man, this was the first Mass Effect game I ever played, and wow, the environments were just blew me away. The environments, the characters, everything about it was pretty awesome. And I just couldn't believe it. Got it at a really good deal, probably because of some of that baggage. So I was very pleased with the amount of money I spent, and of course the gameplay that I received. Now, interestingly enough, having now gone back through and played through Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, I think there are some differences that allow me to differentiate this game from the other games to talk specifically about this game in view of at least, one and a half of the other games. And so in this case, one of the things I think was interesting was, of course, you had the dialogue wheel. Were able to make choices, and these choices would then affect your characters. Certainly, I've heard some complaints that there were not enough meaningful choices. It felt like this was on rails a little bit. For me, of course, never having played through the other Mass Effect, it really didn't bother me. Having played through the first and the second one, I would say, certainly yes, there were choices that were made. Were they super meaningful? Probably not in the grand scheme. For a first-time player of the series, that was actually kind of refreshing, because having approached Mass Effect 1 and never played it before, that was very daunting. There were so many very, very quickly, very terrible choices you could make that were not at all obvious. Like if you didn't talk to this one person, etc., etc. But in Mass Effect Andromeda, yes, of course, in the future, I would definitely like more in-depth choices with more meaning, but some sort of nice balance would be great. Not just, there's this Solarian over there having a cup of coffee, and if you didn't talk to him, then half your crew's gonna die. It's like, what? So having said that, secondary, the gameplay. For me, I really, really enjoyed the gameplay. I thought it was nimble. It gave you your full tool set, at least from what I experienced. And at a finger's reach, I was able to use my biotic powers, but also use my weapons. Of course, I am partial to the sniper rifle over everything. I just liked sniping type gameplay. And so, I really felt I had good control of my squad. Although, honestly, when you're playing a sniper, I think you're kind of just there and they're supportive. But like I could pick out one of my guys who I knew was gonna rush down every time, and so I knew he's gonna keep these guys, taken care of at least at some level, so some crowd control, and I could then focus on sniping other people, perhaps the more dangerous targets. So I definitely enjoyed that aspect of it. Things I would like to see in the next one, certainly just I guess the ability to upgrade some of those powers a bit more. I'd like to see, certainly, I know that some of these things were not only just your weapons that increased your powers and abilities on the battlefield, but it was your gear. And so, really cool. I love the way you're able to customize the gear. And I just like to see more gear, more unique styles. It would kind of be cool. I mean, this is kind of a wish list thing, but it'd be really cool if you were able to, I don't know, do some kind of mission to acquire some of this gear. And in doing the mission, you're able to learn more about it. Like, because, of course, there's all the dialogue when you're selecting your gear that tells you little details, Milky Way versus, technology versus other tech. So it would just be great if I don't know, this was made by these, the Martian guys. Well, you can go there, you can see it, you can see them making it, you can see stuff they're doing with it. And so now it makes sense that, why it does what it does, and you have these unique abilities. I feel like it would add more flavor. Again, that's just a wish list type desire there. I enjoyed just so much of the gameplay. Obviously, there were some things, and clearly having played the previous Mass Effects, I can now see that it's kind of a Mass Effect thing, which is kind of driving around. You're driving around in your vehicle. Although I will say in this one, I really enjoyed it. I like that you could customize your vehicle. I like it was able to traverse all different types of terrain, which was nice. It was all purpose, so that was really good. Very nice. Yeah, I mean the loadout. I think definitely it was nice to be able to change your loadout in other games from just your options menu. You could do that, and of course in this one you had to be back at the little hub or be on the ship. Obviously, having to traverse every single little galaxy with your ship. Although granted, that's in every single Mass Effect. But I don't know. I guess it would be nice if there was a little more to that beyond just clicking on a planet and you just hit a button and it does something. Again, I get that it's in every game and there's so much in these games. What else would you want to visit every single planet? That's like 800 planets or something. And no, I don't think that's feasible from a game standpoint. But I don't know, perhaps, and hopefully with the next gen systems this will be the case, but maybe a smoother transition. It's like every single time you went somewhere and you're constantly having to travel a lot of places, there was a lot of load, and of course you're seeing the same animations. And again, totally understand in the grand scheme there's a lot of content to make, a lot of assets you need to make, so how many different intro or outro animations can you possibly make? Man, I love the black hole. That's probably a personal thing, but I love that looks so cool. Like, what would it be like you're this planet and you're right next to this black hole? That's just like, man, is everybody on the planet gonna die soon? I mean, all life, light, and everything's gonna be sucked into this vortex of no ending. That's just awesome. Just the idea was just incredible. So I loved that. I loved the environments were I thought were really great. You had a lot of great high points, so for a sniper that was also really good. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all those. I like that your quick saves are part of the game. In other words, once you drove to one area, you had your little pod that came down, and now you could, these are quick travel points, if you will. They were there. I thought they were convenient. Some of them were a little lengthy, like the Sand World and what have you, the New Tachanka. But it was nice that, yeah, I mean, I guess you had a lot of sand, a lot of driving to a lot of sand. But I don't know, for me, it made me feel like, man, this, one, it's huge, and two, I feel like these characters, like, I'm traversing this desert sort of wasteland. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun. It was, looking around that big giant sandworm that came out. And I've played through a couple 100 hours on Andromeda and still just enjoy doing what I need to do, trying to figure these things out. It would be nice if the little side quests all had a bit more meaning, but then understanding the production of Andromeda, it was a bit rushed. There was another group doing it. Obviously, there were, some bugs, even bugs in the version I played, but I mean, clearly, I guess at launch, there must have been some tremendous game-breaking experiences for me. By the time I got a hold of it, everything performed famously. I felt it was fine. Every game in itself is always going to have issues, different things. Let's say Spider-Man, you're going to go flying upside down, all of a sudden my character busts the T-pose for some reason. Every game's going to have its own level of bugs. It's just the way it is, especially with massive games. But for my part, yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And in the next iteration of Mass Effect, and I'll talk about this more once I finish all three games. I'll try and talk about them each independently, but I guess what I hope for, I've seen different theories about where Mass Effect 5 will go. And some people are like, oh, I want it exclusively with the original trilogy universe. Some people are like, oh, I would like it exclusively if they just picked up and we had a sequel. I think I'm in the camp of I would like both. I would like to have both universes kind of combined, because for me, from a story standpoint, it was, and actually even after playing Mass Effect 1 and getting into 2, I like the idea that, well, they needed to move on. Humanity needed to move on. They needed to go somewhere, and they did. And they encountered all this trouble with a new team and new things going on. And within that, though, they still kept the spirit of what the other ones were about alive, the exploration. Actually, in this case, I really enjoyed my connection with your companions. I just really felt I learned a lot about the Krogan, about each one of these races. They were all so different and unique. I learned so much about them. And so I really enjoyed, I felt a really tight bond with those guys. Interestingly enough, people may disagree, but in the first, at least Mass Effect 1 and then into 2, I really don't feel that same bond. Probably because, I mean, obviously Mass Effect 1, the first one, I'm sure there was some technical and budgetary limitations where you didn't get cutscenes or things like that where you really interacted. Matter of fact, talk about that in the next game. But in this one, yeah, I just really felt like I really got to know my guys and really like I understood them on a certain level. And it was, I don't know, gave me a meaning. It gave me a feeling of desperation when I wanted to save the Turians and all these other guys. I was just like, man, these guys, you know, they're friends and they're these good races, man. I got to help them out. And so that was definitely very welcome. And so that's what I'm saying. I'd love to combine those two now into the next one. And for me, that would be great to really to continue on with what we're doing out there in Andromeda, and then also sort of, you know, pick up the pieces and face the new foe with the original trilogy. And some of that, obviously, that's a pretty big host of characters, but I'm sure BioWare can pull all that together. Certainly crossing my fingers there. I'll change it up. I'm crossing my fingers that they can bring all that together. But I guess if there was some takeaways or some negatives, takeaways to Andromeda, it would be that, yes, there was kind of a lot of sort of empty spaces. And now, I mean, you know, trying your hand, I guess, at this more larger open world experiences, I think that's going to happen. So I hope that certainly in the next one, there's going to be more substance to those spaces. I think, obviously, you can't just cram every single corridor with stuff to do. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I still enjoy. I do think that came a little overwhelming. So in this case, you know, certainly not to that extreme, but I think there could be more depth and more meaning in there, stuff that you're doing. And you know, ultimately, I think there were some surprises when I got that whole machine dragon thing. I can't remember its name, but good Lord, that was awesome. The outer space, the deal that's, you know, running around outer space protecting the planet. That thing was sick. I mean, it was just huge, and I was like, "What is this thing?" That was awesome. So, great moments like that, but definitely there were just other things that were there to do. You would, I don't know, you would stumble onto these little side quests, and then it was just some dialogue or some guy just giving you a snippet of dialogue, and after you traversed, you know, multiple planets and did all this stuff, and okay, your payoff is some guy giving you, 10 seconds. It'd be nice if some of that, again, just had a little more depth to it. It would certainly be nice, and again, that's just probably maybe a labor of all of them. If there was a little more flow to like the Citadel, or I don't remember what they called it in Andromeda, but that whole area, I definitely would get turned around. Of course, everything looked the same, and I can understand why from a production standpoint, but it'd be nice because if you're going to spend a lot of time there, it'd be nice if it just kind of had a natural flow to it. And of course, traveling from deck to deck to deck, maybe a little more speed to that. But hopefully, hey, the next gen systems, maybe that'll be the case. So overall, really enjoyed the gameplay. Really love the environments, love the story, love the plot. I enjoyed everything about it. The romances, the characters, everything involved, love the music. I think anyone else who enjoyed Andromeda, I would have loved to have, known about the other arcs, what happened there. I would love to have had the content that was in the DLC. And so I'm sure Mass Effect 5, if they do decide to combine the two universes, I may not get that direct what happened, but it would be great if at least some of that was approached, maybe just a quick story. I don't know, here's what happened to their arcs, here's what happened to you guys in the process. I do hope they bring that universe into it. I think it'd be a shame to just kind of leave it behind. Due to the sort of initial reception of Andromeda, hopefully they can still track numbers and see sort of people are thinking about it now, content created for it now, and yes, there was backlash early on, but I think now I've just seen more and more people who seem to be receptive of it, and so I'm certainly part of that crowd. But thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and this is definitely going to be part of the other 3 games, so I'll have more to say on it, maybe a more cohesive narrative when we get to that point.